Hello and welcome to this week's Rocksmith developer stream. I am your host and community developer, Doug Lilly. And if you're just joining us, which there might be a few of you because we are now streaming both on Twitch and YouTube. So hello and welcome to our YouTube viewers, as well as our Twitch family. Welcome back. I embrace you metaphorically. Today, we have 3 songs from Radiohead with the Radiohead Song Pack III. And if you've never watched the stream before, we're going to play through those songs. We're going to talk about them. We're going to have some giveaways. The giveaways will be happening on Twitch because that's where we have a moderator. So stay tuned for that. We're going to take a look at the Radiohead Song Pack III, and we'll come back and play some songs. And we are back. 3 songs from Radiohead, like I said. And if you have any questions for us here on the chat, especially if you're on Twitch, YouTube, we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we'll be able to get somebody to join you over there to take questions and maybe help with raffles in the future. No promises. We'll see how it goes. But for today, if you're on Twitch and you're live with us right now, we will be having some raffles a little bit later. And if you have any questions for us, make sure you ask in the chat. Ask Jurassic, that is Brian. He is your community manager for Rocksmith. Right now, we are joined by 2 gentlemen. I say loosely. Greg Studley, Note Tracker, and Francois. How you doing?
Good, how about you?
Doing well. So, Francois, you've been on a few times. You are a localization project manager.
Indeed.
Officially.
Yes.
Yeah. But we also, I guess, we wear a few hats.
Yes.
Here. Greg Sully, you note-tracked this song.
I did.
What song is this?
Do you not know what song we're about to do?
I wanted to see if you wanted to introduce.
Well, actually, we're
going to
play Fake Plastic Trees.
Fake Plastic Trees.
By Radiohead, in
Now,
fact.
why aren't we playing real plastic trees?
Well, because real plastic trees aren't real, and therefore we can't play them. You didn't think I was going to have an answer for that, but I actually came up with one pretty quick.
There's actually a band in Japan called Plastic Tree, so...
Are they the real plastic trees?
I guess so, since they don't say fake plastic tree.
The original Plastic Trees.
Oh,
they had to change their name. And then eventually they became Spinal Tap.
Yes, exactly.
The Fake Plastic Trees was a hugely requested song.
Yeah, it seemed to be.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and I saw in the chat a few people aren't really that familiar with Radiohead, which I guess it's an understandable perspective. But if you were a teenager growing up in the '90s watching MTV like I was, you at least know a couple songs. Huge, massive band.
Oh, they got incredible radio play, especially through the '90s.
Yeah, and since the '90s, like their sound has changed. It just evolved considerably.
They've done a good job in not sticking to their sound, but evolving over the years, which is good. There are some bands I think which unfortunately die off because they don't.
Right.
Or some people like that classic sound. They don't want the bands to change. I guess you could argue it either way.
And I think today, just by chance, we're doing a more or less kind of chronological look at some of the songs. So it'll be a nice tracking of the development of the band. But this song is from their 1995 album, The Bends.
Yes.
And so let's take a listen to what Radiohead sounded in the mid-90s with Fake Plastic Trees.
And what we would have sounded like playing with Radiohead in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
As well.
The green plastic watering can for a fake Chinese rubber plant and a fake plastic gun.
What a nice ending.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it sounds, except for the solo and where the solo is, that sort of delves into the Radiohead weirdness that we've come to expect.
That's definitely the hardcore Radiohead essence of it right there.
In case you forgot who you're listening to, let us remind you. Outside of that, it sounds like a pretty straightforward, like strummy.
It is, but the interesting thing that they do with it is they get creative. So there's only a handful of chords, no pun intended. All right, the pun was intended. So you're pretty much basing everything around an A chord, a B minor 7, kind of an interesting voicing for it. You got an E chord, and you got like a D5 chord. But you could take those chords and say, well, they're in like tons of songs. But similarly, in tons of songs, they don't tend to manipulate the chords as much as they do here. So sometimes you got your A. Sometimes you're going to slide your third finger up and get an A sus4.
Okay.
Sometimes you're going to actually switch over, especially at the end of the song, into an A major 7. Sometimes even an A7.
Yeah.
And there's one spot in the song where he actually plays, I think what I ended up calling like an A sus4 or an A at 11 over B, which is essentially like an A chord, but you take your first finger and you plant it down on the note B.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool voicing right there.
Yeah.
But all of those within what would just be thought of as A. Kind of like when you play a song and you're like, oh, this is where I'm going to play an A chord for 8 measures. Don't play an A chord for 8 measures. It's going to get boring. Manipulate the chord. Do stuff with it.
I assume sort of traditionally, a lot of people who would play this song would play 3 or 4 chords.
Yeah. Yeah.
With no sort of variation.
Yeah, there might be some strumming variation, but the cool thing, you can vary your chord without necessarily interrupting the song.
Yeah.
You got to be careful where you do it and how much you do it, but this is a really good example of how it can be done in a creative way that is going to benefit the song and not really clash with it.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Thank you very much, Greg.
Of course.
And Francois, so you requested to play on this track. You beat out some other requests.
Oh my God! How many requests were there?
Well, there was one other person who contacted me, and then it was made pretty clear that we were shut down on this one. Got this one blocked.
So what he said was there was one other.
Yeah,
That's what I just
before requests closed. Yeah,
Which was pretty early because I tend to know before most people when the songs are coming out.
That's true. It's true. Okay. Well, thank you both very much. Right now, we are going to do a giveaway on Twitch. So if you are watching on Twitch, please listen to the chat for what UB Jurassic is saying. Once again, that is Brian Turner. He is the community manager for Rocksmith. He will tell you how you can have a chance to win one of these Ernie Ball prize packs. Included in the Ernie Ball prize pack, 2 sets of strings. You've got 1 6-string set for your guitar, 1 4-string set for your bass, and those are both regular slinkies. If you happen to win, by the way, a few things to point out here. First off, UB Jurassic will contact you through a whisper. He will get your name, your shipping address, and your telephone number. We do need all 3 pieces of information in order to ship this prize to you. Also, if you win, if you happen to be a fan of social media, if you hop on our Twitter or Instagram, give Ernie Ball a shout out. They are at Ernie Ball, and they love to hear from you if you win. And the hashtag #IPlaySlinky will let them know specifically what you've done here with us. Also included in that prize pack are a pack of medium gauge Ernie Ball picks, 3 picks from us. Those are the pink Skullboy picks. A multi-pack of Ernie Ball Wonder Wipes to help clean and polish and maintain your guitar. There are 3 different kinds of wipes in that. 1 for your body, 1 for your strings, and I'm bad at my job and I've forgotten what the 3rd one is. But they will help you keep it clean and polished and have your strings last longer. Also an Ernie Ball peg winder. And if you win, we still have some of the Eric Cartman Wizard statues that I found lurking in the back of the studio, and I still have some of these to give away. So if you win, Brian will ask you if you would like us to include one of these statues in your prize package. Just let him know, yes or no. And if you want it, I will ship it along with the rest of your goods. It'll take up a lot of space in the box, if that's a factor. Probably shouldn't be. I don't see why it would. So once again, thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, probably after this raffle, because I assume chat is still going pretty heavy with the exclamation raffle. If you have any questions, make sure you do give a shout to @UBJurassic. There was a question about the guitar that Greg was playing, and I forgot to ask it, but maybe our next guest will know the answer. Hello, Anthony Martinez. Hey. How are you doing? Do you have a mic?
I sure do.
Oh, there it is. Oh, that's good. I'm always I'm full of surprises and wonder. I keep confusing.
Yeah, you are.
Word ups. And with Anthony Martinez, senior note tracker is Sei Young. Hello. Note tracker with no
senior.
No title.
Or even junior.
Yeah.
Just note tracker.
I thought about saying junior note tracker, but I didn't feel it would play very well if I said it. So thank you, thank you for pulling that one off.
Sophomore, freshman,
yeah,
freshman note tracker,
super senior note tracker, and so the question was about the guitar that Greg Southey was playing. Do you happen to know what model that was?
I don't. I know that it looks like an Epiphone Les Paul with a single coil pickup. Which explains the all the noise.
Okay, gotcha.
that it brought to the table.
Okay.
But yeah, I can't really make out the model. The headstock is turned the other way.
We'll take a look at it and we'll try to get that answer to you later. That question. Let's see who asked that question. That was from Jean308, which I think I'm pronouncing correctly. I may pronounce it differently every time I say it. So the two of you are going to play Airbag.
That's
from
correct.
This week's song pack. I love this song. I'm a fan of Radiohead, so I'm excited about all of these songs.
Same here.
So
yeah.
I'm biased.
I love the intro riff to this song. It's amazing.
Okay.
There's some pretty cool tremolo picking in it as well. A lot of single note melodies. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to play. A lot of great textures in this song. And I believe that this is a Sam Schwartz joint. I think he transcribed it. So
you are, as far as I know, you're correct. I think that's what I had written down.
Cool,
but no longer. And I'll probably want to talk about the bass after we play it. So let's take a look at Airbag from 1997's OK Computer.
All right.
All right, computer.
Okay. How is the computer? It's okay. Um, that sounded great. And you mentioned the tremolo picking, and John LR 2000 wants to know if you have any advice for approaching that style tremolo picking.
Absolutely. First and foremost, awesome playing. That was fun.
It is super
The
fun.
bass line, man, it just holds it down. It's so grooving.
Okay, well let's talk about the bass line first.
Okay.
So
I promise we'll get to tremolo
we-
picking. I just had to put that out there.
in this pack, both Airbag and Jigsaw Falling Into Place have really interesting rhythmic bass lines. I was talking to Travis Kennard about this, and he agreed with me, and he described it as like an oblong wheel, where it's sort of like it finds the beat, but then it sort of meanders. And I said, like, when I was playing, it felt like I was the whole time kind of solving like a math problem of sorts, just as far as like determining like where things should land and would land. Like, nothing sounds like it doesn't make sense. Everything sounds like it belongs there.
Did you
but
find
it's not
that?
necessarily where you would expect.
Did you find that the jigsaw was falling into place?
You know, I kept thinking if I just focus on that like as a mantra as I would play, everything would lock in. But no, I was like, I can follow it. It's like I
Right.
can, you know, it's fun, it's good. But like I never had a moment where I was like, that's the thing, that's the piece that I'm missing.
Sure.
I'm sure it's still there. I just need to find it. So yeah, the bass line.
So he's just kind of jamming. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit harder in some regards because it's not the same every like repetition. He's changing it up just a little bit. Like
Yeah.
either it's like off like by ahead by one beat or behind by one beat, and he's like repeating some notes, and
Yeah.
he's just having fun.
Yeah.
But that also makes it kind of difficult to try to get it down because like pretty much at the end, like I had to just almost memorize it.
Yeah.
Like it's hard if you're just looking at notes coming at you. Like you pretty much have to kind of like intuitively understand where it's going.
Like, listen, make sure you listen to it.
Yeah. But that hemiola section where it's just repeating.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, this doesn't. Okay.
Do we have-
Oh,
we
there
go.
you go.
That's like
Yeah.
that's 3 against what 4, right? It's just kind of fitting
Yeah.
just a little bit short, and then you're just cramming it in.
Right, and then but then everything sort of like will lock in again, and then sort of expand around. I also wrote down in that song specifically, space is important. There's a lot of periods where an instrument or several instruments are just sort of like pulling back, laying off for a bit, and letting another piece kind of do their thing. It's not everything is
Right.
like full blast the whole time. So I think space is very important.
One
Tremolo
might
picking,
say it's even airbagged.
like an air.
From
Yeah,
each other.
There it is.
we're all living in an airbag, comma.
That's
and
true. I mean, that well, not that part, but
Sure.
No. It's true that you touched on where tremolo picking comes into place, and that whole figure that repeats a couple of times throughout the song. It might sound like there's a lot going on guitar-wise, but
Right.
I think the game also pumped out. The output was a little hotter than it might be in the song itself. But there's actually a lot of space there. It's just like a single note melody with tremolo picking,
Yeah.
while the bass holds it down, and Tom does his thing on vocals.
Right, which I would say Tom, more so than most singers, really uses his voice like an instrument
For sure. Yeah.
in interesting ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's look at tremolo picking.
Yeah, of course. So
We'll get to you, John LR 2000. We didn't forget you.
I chose to use a Jazz 3 XL series pick, which is a little more substantial. It's slightly bigger than the other Jazz picks that you might be familiar with. So it sits between like a small Jazz pick and then just like a regular sized Dunlop that you might come across. And I picked that because it's just more comfortable for me to use for tremolo picking. So first and foremost, is the grip, holding the pick in a way that makes it easy for you to tremolo pick. And I hold it in a way that makes it so that only a small portion of the pick is exposed, and I'm using that to do the tremolo picking. Also, when I approach the string, I angle the pick a little bit so that it's more easy for me to, attack the string back and forth. There's less resistance when I approach it that way. So, you can start by just laying your pick flat down against the string and then angling it a little bit. So it's almost like a diagonal, almost like a 45 degree. Yeah, not quite, because you still, like, if you do it too much, you're not going to hear it as well. The picking's less defined, in my opinion. So it's like a nice in-between. And it's tough. It's always tough to tremolo pick strings that are within the E strings because, you're likely going to attack surrounding strings and make extra noise that you don't want to produce. So what I did was I for this song, I actually used my pinky to anchor my hand, and I'm muting the high E string, so I know that that's not going to be an issue. And then, for example, I'll fret a green 10. I'm lightly touching the G string so that string doesn't ring out. So that I know when I pick the B string, I have that string isolated. I'm muting the G string and the high E so that I can just focus on the B string. And I'm just going back and forth. It doesn't require a lot of movement at all. But for tremolo picking, I would recommend just practicing very slowly. Practice eighth notes first and then gradually speed up and just see how that feels. You'll get used to it. You might work your way up to 16th notes and then, graduate to 16th note triplets, 30-second notes, and just play along with the song. Of course, it's always recommended to go into riff repeater, try it out. But that's how I approached tremolo picking with this song, because most of it occurs on the B string, and it was pretty easy for me to isolate that string and mute surrounding strings so that I don't produce that extra noise.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Anthony.
Yeah, my
And
pleasure.
thank you, Se-Young. Right now, we are going to show a video. We're going to take a look at session mode. And I think it's, is it Nick Minardi who's leading this?
I believe so, yeah.
And while we're watching this video, we're going to give away, if you are on Twitch live, we're going to give away 5 copies of this week's Radiohead Song Pack III. We're going to give away 5 copies on Steam. So again, listen to Brian Turner, a.k.a. UB Jurassic, in chat for instructions on how you can win one of 5 copies of this week's song pack on Steam. And we'll be right back with some more music.
In session mode, you're in control of your own reactive band. This isn't like a static backing track or a metronome or a drum loop or anything. These are AI musicians that are actually listening to what you're playing, and that musician has a bag of tricks. They have their riffs and their ideas that they want to offer into the jam session. So this is session mode, and right now I've hooked up a drummer, an AI musician that's just been waiting for me to play with them. So when I start playing, the drummer starts playing with me. And if I play really quiet and subdued, the drummer's also going to play really chill along with me. But if I start playing harder and ramping up the intensity, the drummer is going to follow me. But we wanted to do more than just playing along with the drummer. So we went further, and we actually made a whole band of AI musicians to play along with. So you'll notice at the bottom of the screen is the Rocksmith interface. And right there in the center is the scale. What session mode is telling you is, play any of those notes and it's going to sound good with the band. We have over 75 instruments for you to choose from. We have tons of different drums, different basses, guitars, keyboards, a bunch of synthesizers. You can affect the volume and the pan of each of the AI musicians. You can affect the tempo. You can change anything about your virtual jam session. Session Mode actually has a lesson plan built into it, and that's the mission system. First mission, all you have to do is just play with your drummer. Later missions, add a couple more instruments, speeding you up all the way to be able to actually improvise and start creating on your own. Session Mode isn't just for guitar. It also works with bass, even works in multiplayer, so you can have your friend come over, you can play bass, he can play guitar, and you guys can play along with a virtual band. So we're really excited about what we've done, and we're very proud to continue to push forward new ways to learn and create.
Hello and welcome back, both Twitch and now YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. With me, so first off, if you're just joining us, you are watching the weekly Rocksmith developer stream where we play through that week's content and we chat about it and we give away some prizes. We just gave away 5 copies of the Radiohead Song Pack III. Joining me right now is David Stevens.
Hello.
The QA czar, and also usually the board operator. So are things just floating freely?
We threw Anthony on it.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
This car is not driving without a driver.
Good. So I'm playing a song. It's been a while since I've been on this side.
That's your fault.
Podium. It is my fault. Well, I like to share the stage. I'm not too greedy, but this week I was greedy because I really wanted to play My Iron Lung, which is one of my favorite Radiohead songs.
And you wanted to play a song in the game too.
What?
Is that what you've named this?
No, this No, this is not My Iron Lung. This is my bass. This is my PRS Kingfisher, which I bought.
That is a very, very nice looking bass.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy with it, and it was the first time I was able to bring it into the office.
It looks like it could double as a coffee table.
It could. It's not as heavy as it looks, but it's pretty solid. I like it. I want to play it. So the song that we're going to play is My Iron Lung, which we talked about a little bit earlier. As far as I know, this song was a response to the sort of love-hate relationship that the band had with the song "Creep," their first massive single, because I guess they felt trapped by the thing that was supporting them.
I learned this today.
Yeah,
from
and also
him.
I could be. Sometimes I say things that I read, and I don't cite my sources nor verify them. So that
I'll believe you.
Good. Just everybody go with that. Just everybody believe me all the time. Do you have a relationship with Radiohead? I don't think you.
I've worked on many songs in the game. That's
I
mean, I've always been familiar with the band.
Yeah.
And I do have a handful of songs that I specifically, that are favorites of mine. But I can't say I'm like super familiar with the whole catalog.
Right. But this song,
This one I know from the game totally.
Yeah.
And from the tones, yes. There's some amazing tones in here.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get to it. This is My Iron Lung. Not on this week's song pack. This is a bonus song, and I'll tell you where it came from once I get back to where my notes are.
We also have some really weird tunings.
Oh yeah,
going
not
on.
For me.
Not super
I'm
weird.
An E-standard.
We can talk about that after. really don't see that coming.
That surprise double stop that you played was awesome. By the way, I was surprised, but I loved it.
I was surprised too.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was good. It was good. So yeah, they like hiding really heavy songs.
Yeah, that just comes
Inside
out
of
of
the-
nowhere and
Yeah.
like hits you over the head with a brick.
I love it. I love it. All right. Anything you wanted to say about this?
So the tuning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
for the guitar, the tuning is actually E G D G B D. So what they've essentially done is tuned the A string down to G and the high E string down to D. I guess that is a open E minor 7. We just call it custom because we
Right,
didn't have a name for
right,
that back
right.
then.
Yeah,
And,
that's not one that you hear about a lot.
but it's really cool because it essentially allows you to just bar and have a full chord.
It's nice.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
fun. I recommend fooling around with different tunings in the game and exploring that.
And the bass goes between just kind of a steady eighth notes to this weird slap pop thing, which is
That's really cool
not-
too.
It's not, and it's because usually when you see those, it's going to be octaves, but this does a lot of not octaves, which is fun.
Not octave.
But yeah, I'm glad I got to play it. Thank you for joining me on it. And right now, we are going to hear from our good friend Chris Wu over at the podium.
Hey everyone. So I'm here today to talk to you about a great, cool opportunity that we were able to do to build upon our partnership with 20th Century Fox, as you may remember from when we released the Queen Song Pack back in January in honor of the home entertainment release of Bohemian Rhapsody. Well, we've been working for a couple of months now, and thanks to their generosity, we've been able to offer another sweepstakes to give away some cool Bohemian Rhapsody branded prizes for all you Rocksmith players. Now, to enter, it's pretty simple, but there are a few steps. So first of all, why don't we throw to the prize page so we can take a look at what we're offering everyone for a chance to win. So the grand prize is going to be a Crosley record player that's branded with Bohemian Rhapsody, along with a copy of the Blu-ray. Now, to enter, visit rocksmith.com/brsweeps. When you arrive on that page, you're going to log in with your Ubisoft Club account, accept the terms and conditions, and then verify your email. Now, that's just step one of the process. Once you register online, Next, to really accrue additional entries into the contest, you're going to need to boot up your copy of Rocksmith, log in using Uplay or Ubisoft Club so that we know you're playing. And for every full song completion you play of any Queen song in Rocksmith, whether that's the included song with Rocksmith 2014 or any of the DLC tracks, including Under Pressure, you'll be entered one time to win. You can enter up to 60 times, and this contest will run until May 31st, so you have plenty of time to enter. In addition to the one grand prize we're giving away with the record player and the copy, 5 other folks will have a chance to win a Bohemian Rhapsody prize pack, which will include a Bohemian Rhapsody backpack, hat, shirt, as well as a copy of this Blu-ray DVD digital version of Bohemian Rhapsody. So again, very easy to enter and win. You don't have to really change anything you do aside from logging in several places with Ubisoft Club, and you'll be rewarded with chances to win the more you play Queen. For more details on that, visit the website, sign up, and you'll be able to see the rules and how to enter in more detail through email. So we hope everyone's going to be excited to enter and increase their chances of winning. And I'm going to throw it back to Doug.
All right, we're back. Thank you very much. I have trapped Chris Wu. He is behind the podium. You cannot see this. That is good. Thank you, Chris Wu, for kind of putting this together and describing what's going on. Again, this is with in partnership with Bohemian Rhapsody. Thank you, Chris, and yeah, please enter and play some Queen and have fun and good luck winning. If you like Radiohead, as you may have guessed from the name of this song pack, Radiohead 3, we have had 2 other Radiohead song packs. So if you like what you're hearing today and maybe you want to check out some more, and this is the first time really delving into Radiohead, check out the Radiohead song pack and the Radiohead 2 song pack. The first song pack included Creep, Just, Karma Police, My Iron Lung, which is the song that David Stevens and I just played, along with Optimistic. And then the Radiohead 2 song pack, which came out pretty recently, just last June, I think. That included No Surprises, Street Spirit, Fade Out, and They're There. Besides those 2 packs and this one, we have been with Radiohead a long time. The first Rocksmith 1, included High and Dry, and then Rocksmith 2014 came with Paranoid Android on disc, and Body Snatchers released with the Rock Hits 1, or it released as a single and was added into Rock Hits 1. I'm not sure about that one. Toy Machine SH in the chat might be able to help out. Again, if you have any questions for us here, make sure you let UB Jurassic in the chat know, and he will get those questions to me. Right now, we're going to play the last song from the Radiohead Song Pack 3. And to perform that song, we have Andrew Levin and Brian Shu, note trackers both. Welcome. How are you doing?
What's up?
Yeah, doing all right. How you doing?
All right, doing well, doing well.
Good.
You're playing Chris Wu's guitar.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So while he was up here trying to tell everyone about the sweepstakes, you just took his guitar.
I swept it up.
Swept it up. What are you playing? You're playing Jigsaw Falling Into Place.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're, I hear, a fan.
Yeah.
So what are we looking forward to in this track?
Just some weird.
just some weird. Yeah, that's all you really need.
Weirdness,
Just some weird.
Song has a weird tuning.
Yeah, open B minor.
Open B minor.
Yeah, I've
That's
never
fun.
never used that before.
Well, now you have.
Yeah, it's
Now you
fun to try and improvise with it. It's
yeah.
the most unintuitive tuning.
So you know, Radiohead's like one of your favorite bands. What would you say is like one of the defining musical qualities of Radiohead that you think you like so much?
I just like their use of sounds.
Yeah.
And I like how they're able to make music that's melodic and speaks to non-musicians, but is still creative.
Yeah.
You know, I think that as a musician, I kind of sometimes find myself listening to music that maybe people who aren't like guitar buffs or music buffs may not dig.
Yeah.
You know?
Music for musicians.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that Radiohead does a really good job of making music that's accessible to musicians, but also really, really cool. And I also like that, you know, obviously they're all well-trained musicians and they can all play.
Yeah.
But all their stuff, it may not be necessarily the most technically challenging to play it, but when you listen, it's just like really creative. It's just
I
like
think
a
like
different
harmonically, they're
Yeah.
very interesting. Like
Yeah.
especially compared to other radio bands that are on the radio, they use
Yeah.
a lot more like kind of chromatic harmonies
Yeah.
and just stuff that you aren't really used to hearing
Yep.
from other bands.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen them live, and I recommend everybody, if you're getting into Radiohead and you haven't seen Live from the Basement,
Oh,
where they
yeah.
perform All of
Yeah.
In Rainbows.
That's a good series.
Yeah, you got to see that, because what's so impressive is like they're just hopping from instrument to instrument, and it sounds a lot like the album, and the arrangements sound very similar to the album.
Which is impressive.
Yeah,
because this could all just be sort of like studio glitz.
Exactly, but it's not. And that's another thing I like
Yeah.
about them is that they're able to actually perform everything as a 5-piece without using backing tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know?
speaking of live performances, like this, for me playing this tune on bass,
Which is
the bass
rare.
is
I haven't seen you on bass in
very,
a while.
very improvised
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't want to say noodly, but he just moves all over the place. He's kind of playing
Meanders
just
around the beat.
He's just kind of well, this song in particular like really emphasizes the ands, so like kind of eighth note subdivisions as the main groove. Like it's not as like hard hitting on the downbeats.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that with the bass groove, you're always constantly playing on the upbeats the whole time, which
Yeah.
is really cool. But also like he's just kind of moving all over the place on the bass, and it's like a really busy bass part, and it's kind of hard to play. It's pretty challenging, and it's very jammy.
This is
like
one of the
he's
ones that I
just
said
jamming it.
like I felt like I was trying to do a math problem the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, just trying to know where things sort of fit in
Yeah.
and fall
it's-
into place.
It still grooves.
Yeah,
it does.
so
It does. No, like it makes sense. Like nothing
Yeah.
sounds like it doesn't belong where it is.
What's funny is
It's
I
just
feel like this is like Tom York's version of like a dance pop tune.
Right, right.
You know?
We'll have a conversation about that later. There's an interesting video about videotape, which we don't have. but
Okay.
It's a hidden dance song.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's listen to Jigsaw Falling Into Place on Radiohead Song Pack 3.
Try improvising with this tuning.
The trick to the guitar part's going to be a lot of first finger movement in the strummy bits coming up.
Oh yeah. Not easy to read. This part's really cool.
Just as you take my hand, just as you write my number down, just as
synced together at once.
Kind of.
that fit.
Yeah, that bass part is all over the place.
Yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
It's really hard on my right hand,
no.
actually.
Oh,
It's
no.
like super
Yeah.
hard to play.
It's hard to get that accurate too because of all the.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. You've got some interesting sort of string skipping
Yeah.
within that strange tuning.
Yeah.
Well, like the intro is like arpeggiated.
Yeah,
but
there's-
it's very simple
yeah,
shapes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just minor. It kind of looks like a major shape and drop D. That part's a little tricky.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. But as far as the main strumming part, you're basically mostly playing around this very simple chord shape where you're basically just holding a single or 2 frets basically on the low string, and you skip 1 string and what would be the D string, right?
Yeah, so it's just, like if you're in drop D, you have your octave here.
Yeah.
So similar to that, you're just strumming open strings. But what's hard is he's kind of improvising with his first finger here, so he's moving it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's 3rd finger too.
He's just kind of improvising there.
Yeah, I was saying you said it was difficult to improvise, but you seem to be doing a fine job of it right now.
Well, I mean, over that chord shape, but if you're trying to do like a... Yeah, if you do like a blues shape,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just really unintuitive. Yeah. I think, yeah. It's like totally...
That
Yeah,
sounds
it's
great.
a weird, super weird tuning.
Yeah.
So like the crux of the riff, without the randomness, would be really simple because
Yeah.
you're just moving basically the same shape around multiple different frets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what becomes difficult is like you're basically having to read what he's improvising. He's not even thinking that hard
No,
when
right,
he's doing
exactly.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
He knows
Yes.
what will work.
So I would recommend like kind of get the crux of what he's sort of doing. Like it's not as important to like nail every single like first finger movement or like little melodic piece in there. There's a couple in there that are like kind of really define this recording. Like
Totally.
there's like the like kind of in the or no like the one where you're moving. Yeah, like that one. Like there's a couple little movements in there that you probably want to learn, but some of the rest are a little bit more improvised than most and like not as quite as important.
So that
Yeah.
that makes me want to ask. You were talking about the From the Basement
Yes.
videos, and you've probably watched some live footage of this
Yeah.
song. So how much does the studio recording, as far as if it does sound a bit ad-libbed when they play it live?
Well, if I may,
Please, you may.
this is one of the only songs that was emitted from Live at the Basement.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it tricky.
But when they do play it live, I mean, it's similar, but it's like it's not going to match our tab at all because
Yeah.
it's like, he's improvising.
Because he still
those
is improvised.
things.
That's ultimately the question was, does he still sort of improvise this
Yeah.
when they play
He-
live?
he's not going to play note for note
No way.
Rocksmith 2014 transcription.
Yeah. The other thing is, it kind of mirrors the bass a little bit too. Like when you do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah.
those little movements there.
Yeah, but those are so subtle, and he doesn't do it every time. And sometimes you're
No, he
reading it.
And sometimes I noticed the bass player doesn't even I think on the second part where he goes or like
Yeah.
like sometimes he just stays on
Yeah.
this note, which is a little bit strange because it's not the actual root note or it's not really matching what he's doing.
Not at all.
And
Yeah.
they kind of clash a little bit, but it's kind of cool.
Well,
And they're just kind of jamming.
I know they're super into like modern classical composition, like weird kind of. They're all about getting outside the box, man.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's just some of the times those two notes will be like a whole step apart or something, and they'll just hang on that in this tune. But in the context of like, when the pulse is going, the energy is like high. It's like you don't really notice it as much.
Totally.
Yeah.
So the question was this a hard song to track?
Yes.
we can
Yes.
speak. Another question. That was from Twin Machine SH, by the way. Another question from
It's very hard.
Gralu7.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Gralu7.
Gralu?
Is that right? How do you play fret hand muted open string on bass in this song?
Open string.
Open string fret hand mute.
It's basically the same as any other
So just
fret hand
so it
mutes.
just you don't have to be accurate with.
Yeah, usually it's the same technique basically, and sometimes let's say I'm just jamming on this E or something, and I'm just going. Like, I still have to put my hand at a point, but it can be anywhere, really. It can be... like, it's the same technique.
Right. And it might see, because on the guitar, when you have, like, this sort of full string strum fret hand mutes, it can just be signified with the large X.
Yeah,
same
on
on strums,
bass,
right?
But on bass,
On
since
bass-
you're just doing one string at a time,
Yeah,
Yeah.
So a lot of the times
That
what
might
we
be-
try to do is, let's say there's a bass part that's kind of moving around a lot, right? What we try to do nowadays is if there is a fret hand mute, like before or after like a specific fret you're playing, we'll try to use those
just
that
to anchor
fret
yourself.
because if we're giving the player like open string mutes while you're like in somewhere else, it can actually be detrimental to your reading and it be really distracting
Yeah.
compared to what the person's actually playing. Like they could be doing something like this. So I would rather put like a a fifth fret mute there because that's kind of
Where they should be.
where
Yeah.
you should be, instead of putting a bunch of open string mutes, because that will just, some players will even just play like that, on
Yeah.
accident, and that's, it's a little bit misleading. Yeah.
The game is just looking for a transient
Yeah.
in the sound. So if there's a fret hand mute on any fret, this isn't just open string, but if there's a fret hand mute on the third fret, you can go up here, as long as there's a transient.
So basically, ultimately, the fret numberings are just to help
It's a
guide you
guide,
and
yes.
anchor,
Yeah,
anchor
exactly.
where your hand should be
Yeah.
for before and after.
Yeah, we've changed.
Transient. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Thank
we've
you.
changed a lot of ways we've notated fret hand mutes, especially over the years. Like we used to use for guitars, we used to do like big open string like X's, and that would
Yeah.
redraw like a bunch of like open strings, which would be kind of terrible for reading because you're like, wait, am I supposed to actually hit all the strings or like what's
Right.
going on?
Yeah.
So we've changed some transcription things that we've done over here.
Yeah, it's an evolving process.
Yeah.
Just
And
a way to
working with, I mean, I assume in a way, and this is pure speculation on my part because I've never tracked notes, but I assume sort of working within the limitations of the assets for what we have
Oh yeah.
makes you be really creative with how you express.
Yeah, and you'll notice like throughout the years, like I bet you could even map it out. Like you could probably find transcriptions all from like the first half of 2015, and they all notated something a very specific way, and then that might change like a year later.
Right. It's
So
like
it's
trends
kinda-
within notation.
Right,
Interesting.
because we've been also evolving the way that we do things. Just through experience and playtesting the game
Yeah.
a lot, we'll just be like, actually, this doesn't look, this is hard to read, so we'll change our approach to this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Yeah.
Thank you both very much for coming on playing and
you.
talking at length about this tune, which is a lot of fun to play.
It is.
On bass. I'm sure it's fun to play on guitar.
It's challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, especially it's just hard to read.
Right.
Anyways.
Let's do a giveaway.
Yep.
Why don't we? This is going to be the second of our 2 Ernie Ball prize packs for this week. So if you are in the Twitch chat live with us, please listen to what UB Jurassic tells you. He is Brian. He is the Rocksmith community manager. He will tell you how you can have a chance to win this Ernie Ball prize pack, which will include everything you see on your screen. And we want to thank Ernie Ball again for being so generous to us and to our viewers that ultimately get these prize packages. So make sure you listen to what he says. You do have to follow the channel in order to be eligible for the prizes. If you're watching on YouTube, first of all, thank you for joining us. I know this is sort of a new situation where we are streaming live to YouTube. We currently don't have a means of getting prizes to that channel. It's something we'll investigate. No promises, but we'll try to get something over there to YouTube if that is your preference. Want to thank everybody for joining us. Had a lot of fun with Radiohead 3. And if you want to know what's coming up next, make sure you check out the forums tomorrow morning. We will have a clue that will probably be from RS222, Rolling Stone 222, who is sort of our community puzzle master. That will be posted most likely by Ubisoft in the forums if you're on the Pacific Coast, early hours of the morning. If you're in Europe, a little bit later. That puzzle will give us all a hint as to what is coming next week, and that will be tomorrow morning. And if Ubisoft doesn't post it, UB Jurassic will post it. Also, please follow us on Facebook. We're Rocksmith on Facebook. Twitter and Instagram, we are at Rocksmith Game, just as we are here on Twitch and YouTube. And thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Cheshire cat grin, all blurred.